exponent of the Siddha philosophy, right? He took the crux from their teachings and he has simplified the practice of yoga. And you see our sky system, right? Teaches all these four things: meditation, introspection, sublimation, and perfection. So, what is meditation? Can somebody explain? What did you understand by the term meditation? Geeta, Lakshmi, Sivagami, or Swarnavali? Can you explain what is meditation?
It's an inward journey to keep it at the very simplest level, where you're focusing your biomagnetism in life energy, traveling it to different levels.
Yeah. Good.
Meditation.
To attain. Yeah.
The mind frequency.
Good. What about Geeta or Swarnavalli?
Attain perfection.
Okay.
It helps merge with the divine eventually.
Got it. Okay. See, if you look at Patanjali Yoga, right? So the four aspects of meditation, that is pratihara. Pratihara means getting disconnected from the sensory perception and turning the mind inwards, like pratihara. Then dharana, right? Dharana means turning inwards and trying to merge with the origin of mind. Right? You take the mind, first you get disconnected from the sensory perception and turn inwards. And then you traverse inwards to the origin of the mind, right? That is dharana. Dhyana, right? At the third step, which says complete merge into the origin of the mind, which is the life force. And fourth is the sama adi. Right? Sama adi means you go to the state of almost absolute, right? So one thing we forget, right? You might be just thinking that meditation is just just connect inwards, right? But it is not that, right? When the life energy leaves the body, right? And at that time, you may call it as a life force or soul or astral, or everything is same, right? When the soul leaves the body, at that time, the soul should not wander what to do, right? So now itself, we are giving training in the form of meditation that what is my destination, right? Once the soul leaves the body, right? Where am I supposed to go, right? At the time, there is no body. When the soul leaves the body, we don't have a mind there, right? So now itself, we are giving a training, right? We are frequently contracting and expanding, right? We have learned about Duryadit meditation, right? When you focus on the Agna, right, you are shrinking. You are becoming closer and closer to the minutest and the minutest, life energy. Right? You go to Durya and then you do the expansion of the mind. Right? So contraction and expansion is very much required. Right? We have to do practice. As you contract, the mind becomes sharper and sharper. Right? As you keep expanding and expanding, right, you gain the peacefulness. You get that. Right? So meditation is not only you're becoming peaceful now, you're also preparing the soul about the actual destination, right? Once it leaves the body, right? That's the greatest thing. And that's the only available tool for mankind. There is nothing else for the soul to reach the divinity. And next is the introspection, right? Can you explain what you understand by introspection?
I mean, there are 5 things. analysis of your thoughts,
Mhm.
neutralization of anger,
Mm.
eradication of your worries, moralization of desire, and maunam. Um, those are the 5 steps of introspection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Why do we do that?
Basically, this is all working at a karma level, right?
Yeah. The thing
To
is,
avoid adding new, more karma
To
to,
attain perfection,
yeah.
so as we understood earlier, right, the evolution, right, the journey of the human, right, we are not born suddenly in this world, right? In our genetics, all the imprints, good, bad qualities, everything is there. Okay. And those are there in our, we can call it as a genetic center or the center part of the body. Right? Everything is there, right? And frequently that comes as thoughts, right? So in us, the attractive force will be there, right? Whatever actions we do, it gets attracted and gets stored at Muladhara. And due to its repulsive nature, right? So how this repulsion works is you take a bucket, okay? You take a bucket, if the capacity of the bucket is 1 liter of water, it can hold 1 liter of water, okay? Now you pour 1 liter of water and then you'll pour a little bit more. What happens? It will start overflowing, right? Something similar happens, right, in this universe or within us also, right? Whenever it's filled, right, it start overflowing, right, in the form of repulsion, right? So whatever imprint is there because of the attractive force, right, it starts repelling, right? And those repulsion is what is coming as thoughts, right? So constantly we need to introspect, right? Because we are constantly caught up with emotions every time, right? We are emotional most of the time, right? Because there is this always some kind of a need, right? The expectation, they say, right? Always there is an expectation. And when that expectation is not met, right, there the tension starts, right? For example, I think that my son has to score 90% or 95% in SAT, right? All that creates this inference at the sensory level, at the brain, right? Various parts of the body and also at the genetics side. And whenever I am thinking of that, my son is going to score 90%, 95%, I feel good about it, right? So, but when the result comes, right, and if the result is 60%, there I get the short circuit, right? So because of the short circuit, the pain starts, and whoever is causing that, we cause a lot of pain to them in a form of anger, or it could also start worry in us, right? So all this unwanted emotional moods we carry, right? So frequently we need to fix that, right? Frequently we have to go away from that. So introspection is all about understanding our desires, understanding our weaknesses, start documenting it, right, in a form of analysis of thought, moralization of desire, eradication of worries, and all that. Okay, and go to the opposite of it. Right, sublimation is nothing but going opposite of all those emotional moods. That is, anger has to get converted into tolerance, right? And worries, no worries. Why you need worry, right? So, what are the 6 emotional moods we carry, right? Greed, anger, miserliness, immoral passion, vanity, and vengeance. So sublimation is all about going opposite to it. Right? The vengeance has to go away, and the forgiveness has to come. Then the immoral passion has to get converted into chastity. Then vanity has to get converted into parity. Anger has to get converted into tolerance. Right? And greed, we have so much greed, has to get converted into charity. So all this is sublimation, right? Going opposite of that. And perfection is nothing but merging with the totality, right? So once we practice these four things, right? Meditation, introspection, sublimation, and perfection, you see that the qualities of the Almighty, will sprout in us, right? The two qualities is nothing but love and compassion of Almighty. That will start sprouting. But for that, we need to practice. We need to practice this introspection and sublimation, right? So that we get the full qualities, right? Good qualities of the Almighty, right? That's why, in the end of the meditation, we do the twofold moral culture, right? So what is the twofold moral culture? Can somebody tell that?
Do not
I
harm
in my
others. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah. Please go ahead, Swarna.
Yeah.
I in my lifetime will not harm anybody knowingly or unknowingly. To extent possible, I'll help others.
This is love and compassion, right? So when you meditate regularly, right, it is the love you have for yourself, right? We don't love ourselves most of the time, right? We close our eyes, so many other peoples are coming into the mind, right, as an image. Our own image is not coming, right? Because we don't think about ourselves frequently, right? We constantly think about others and start fixing others. And we don't fix ourselves, right? So meditation is all about love, loving yourself. Okay. And compassion is all about, right, taking care of yourself first. We need to take care of ourselves first. That's itself a great compassion we have on ourselves. Because once we are not well, it is a two loss to the society, right? One is if you're not feeling well or if you are sick, right? We can't contribute much to the society, right? And others has to take care of us, right? So it's a two loss, right? If you look at our body, right? Body is nourished by the society, right? So it's our duty that we take care of it. We take utmost importance of body, right? And that's why Maharishi, brought this twofold moral culture, right? It is simple, right? Everybody in this world can follow this, right? Like not to inflict pain to self or others, and then help each and every one of us wherever possible, right? In a form of service, it could be some kind of in a form of money or some help. Right? Everybody needs help. Now, just close your eyes for a moment and think how the world would be that if everybody follows these two simple principles. And just think, right? Everybody would be in a state of peacefulness, right? If something is extra, we give it to others, right? So, twofold moral culture is very much important for mankind, right? But unfortunately, we are not able to follow it every day, right? Because of the innocence, ignorance, and emotions, we're not able to do that, right? So, practice of meditation, introspection, sublimation, and perfection is very much required. Each and every day we should do it, right? Every day, right? Keep fixing ourselves, and we become an asset to the society. Okay. So let us a little bit discuss more about what is this love and compassion. So think about the absolute, right? And there is this three imperceptible phenomenon, they say, right? Which, through the senses you cannot perceive, right? So what are those three imperceptible phenomena? One is this absolute, right? You can call it as a truth, almighty, you can call it as a Brahman. Right? Various religion has given different name to that. Right? In Islam, they say Allah. In Christianity, they say Father. Right? Whatever may be, right? That's the truth, right? Then the next is the fundamental energy particle, right? The truth itself, right, is manifested as the dust particle, right? Unfortunately, we cannot, perceive that. And the third is the spreading wave, which is coming through that fundamental energy particle, right? So these three things is called the imperceptible, right? And if you look at the nature, right, all these three things is there, right? The truth will be there, right? You take any mass, right? Let's take an apple or an orange, for our example, right? What do you see? Right? There'll be 5 dimensions onto that, right? The 3 dimension we know clearly, right? Length, breadth, and depth. You can easily understand about it. But if you go a little bit deeper, you will understand that particular fruit, is nothing but the association of energy particles. Right? Billions and billions of energy particles. It is enacting kind of a drama, right? So it is co-joined, and finally it's looking like a fruit, right? And within that fruit, right, the truth is also embedded. The truth in the form of consciousness, right? How the fruit has to grow, how it has to look, right? At what time it has to sprout, right? At what time it has to perish. All that know-how, or the technical know-how, whatever we say, right? That is the consciousness. The consciousness will be there in each and everything, right? Typically, we think, consciousness as, like some kind of an intelligence or some kind of an we can say, like in medical, they say, are you conscious? Right? So it's not like that, right? In spirituality, consciousness means the order, right? There will be an order in each and everything, right? From the minutest energy particle up to the greatest sun, right? Everything, be it an animate things or inanimate things, right? The consciousness will be there, right? That's the order, right? So the order,
Is it the pattern, precision,
yeah,
and
regularity, right?
regularity? That's a consciousness, right?
So in inanimate things, right, consciousness is working like pattern, precision, regularity, right? You see, pattern means the structure will be there, right? The physicality of it, right? You see the sun, right? You see the sun as a whole. That's some pattern will be there, right? And within that pattern, right, the precision is the character. Every mass will have some character, right? The personality of it, right? How it reacts, right? How it works, right? That's the character of it. For example, if you look at the sun, the nuclear fusion is happening, right, within the sun. So it is emitting tremendous waves in the form of heat and light, right? So wherever the heat and light is hitting, right, the waves are only coming. The waves comes and hit. Wherever it hits, it transforms into light, right? That it has to hit. Only then it converts into heat and wave. Till then, it's only a waveform, right? So that order, right? So there is this pattern, there is a precision, and regularity is the time factor will be there in each and everything, right? The continuity of any action, they say time, right? So pattern, precision, regularity will be there in each and every mass, right? So in the nature, right? Look at each and every, or look whatever you perceive. The 5 dimension will be there, right? The length, breadth, and depth, and some character will be there, and the truth in the form of consciousness will be there, right? So you see something is holding, right? The holding aspect is what is called as the love in this nature. It's something it will hold you. For example, you take earth, right? We're all there in the earth, right? It is holding us, right? And even though it is spinning 1,000 miles per hour on its own axis, we don't fall, right? It's not causing, and don't think about the earthquake and all now, right? What I'm trying to say is, in this spin of 1,000 miles per hour, right, we are not disturbed, right? And it is also going around the sun, right? 365 days, it goes round and comes back to the same place, right? In this journey, it is not at all, it's not disturbing any living being on this earth, right? That's called the love aspect of it. It will hold you, right? Everything, whatever may be the mass, right? That's, we call it as a specific gravity. The specific gravity will be there in each and every mass. It will hold you. Okay, that's the love aspect of it. In that holding, it will also take care of you, right? The maintenance part of it, right? Because it has to survive. Right? You see the beauty of this journey, right? The consciousness, right, has created, right, the plant life, right? It creates, then only all the other living beings are coming, right? Because when the other living beings are coming for its survival, right, it needs food. So it creates the plant first, right? Then all the living beings are coming, right? That's the compassion, right? So love is nothing but the holding, right? The harmony aspect of it, right? And compassion is nothing but the maintenance aspect of it, right? Taking care of all the things, right? That's why they say providence. It provides. It provides everything for you to survive. Right? The specific gravity itself, in the form of it is holding you, and it will also provide everything for its survival. Right? So these are the divine qualities which is there, right? Everywhere. Right? Not only in us. You take any phenomenon in this universe, right? The love and compassion will be there throughout the nature.
To me, the one biggest example is that the newborn baby gets milk from a mother
Yeah.
Immediately after birth at a certain time, as just perfectly on time, right? I mean, there could be some exceptions, anomalies, but in general, how that happens is, to me, is a act of love and compassion of nature.
Correct. There's so many examples you can quote here, right? Think about that's a good example. Think about a tree. Okay? Look at a tree. Right? You look at a fruit. You right. Take it like an apple or a mango or an orange. Right. See the weight of that fruit and the stem which is holding. Right. There will be some kind of a mathematical calculation. Right. The engineering aspect of it. Right. It will hold you. It holds that fruit. Right. And also in that holding, the tree, what it does is, it gives all its nutrients to that fruit, right? And that's the maintenance aspect of it. Let's see, that's the love and compassion, right? You take other example, like assume that you got hurt, right? The blood is flowing, right? In the few seconds, the blood will start clotting, right? That's the act of love, right? Once it is clotted, right, then slowly it starts healing. Right? So the healing is the compassion. Right? So likewise, there are a lot of things in this universe you can see. Like for example, if a lizard is trying to eat an insect, right? First it will, through the eyes, actually it passes the biomagnetism onto the prey. It will make the prey unconscious so that it doesn't get the pain of death. Right? Even though it's an act of, we can say, not an act. We sometimes, might feel bad about that action of the lizard onto the prey, but that's the nature, right? So it will make that prey unconscious so that doesn't get the pain of death, right? So like that, the love and compassion that you see in each and everything, right? The holding will
One
be.
question.
Yeah,
Is
go
it
ahead.
okay? I'll ask now.
Yeah.
So while we see love and compassion in nature so much, we also see the anger in terms of natural calamities. Let's say whether it is man-made, triggered or not, natural calamities out of our control to some extent.
Correct.
Like major earthquakes, the cloudburst happens, cities and countries get devastated. Um, how do we interpret that? Is it an act of love and compassion as well?
Yeah, sometimes we forget that the thoughts which are manifested from us is just a property of us. It's not like that. There is always a collective consciousness, right? So now the so-called war is happening. We all know, right? Russia, Ukraine, right? We might be thinking that Putin is the one which is causing a lot of problems. It's not like that, right? The collective consciousness is the one which creates good leaders. Good leaders and bad leaders are formed due to the collective consciousness, right? How we think, like we think something, we are thinking that only we will be affected. Not like that. A person thought not only affects its genetic center, it also spreads. Okay, it spreads up to the universal level, right? There's a universal wave system, right? Just like how we have a wave system within us, right? And this wave spreads actually, right? So if more people are, tensed, worried, or more people are, emotional, right? All this is causing this atmospheric disturbances, and nature reacts according to that, right? It counterbalances that, right? That's why you see calamities happening frequently in some area, right? It is, yeah, nature is trying to adjust a little bit here and there, but we are also responsible, right? So they're tested, like a lot of people or the monks, right? Monks have tested that when an human mind is, practicing some kind of a ritual, okay, or meditation, what they did is they went to a city where there is a lot of crimes, okay. Around 10 to 15 monks, they started meditating regularly, okay. They could see that the crime rates are coming down, right? Almost nullified, right? After they did meditation for a few weeks, right? So we are also responsible for the natural calamities, right? So nature, adjusts, right? We are also responsible. Okay, let's keep that in mind. Okay, did I answer that question?
Yeah, yes. Thank you. Yeah, collective consciousness is a key
Consciousness,
thing. Yeah.
right? Because of that, a lot of things happens in the good
Yeah.
leaders, bad leaders comes because of that one.
Yeah. One more thing to notice: all this Putin kind of situation where there are dictators and leaders who potentially cause war or take the war to a deeper level. This has been happening for yugas, right? We always know the story of Arakas, Asuras, and demons and stuff. Where I'm going with this is, even then there were people, there were good and bad people, and there was a collective consciousness then, and even now it is there. In terms of consciousness, I don't know whether things have got better now than before. If you look at the current, if you look at the last 5,000 years, at least of what Ithikas, we have, if you read those, there are even more disastrous time with the Asuras, Arakas were there. So something to think about in terms of collective consciousness. Are we better off now? Are we worse?
Definitely better, right? The thing is, the science has evolved, right? So those days, science is not there, right? We cannot explain spirituality into much more detail, like now, like we talk about imprint, how it is getting impacted, the cause and effect system, all that we are able to explain in a form of science, because education has evolved, right? Those days, education was not that much, and the minds of the people, right, the frequencies of the mind of the people, right, a little bit more emotional than now. Now also it's there, but because of the educational system, right, we are forced to do a lot of things where the mental wavelength is slowly coming down, right? For example, you do math, you study science, right? So they are injecting a lot of other skills where you're able to keep your mind at a lower frequency. So when that happens, automatically, you're going away from the animal imprint, right? Even though the art of fixing how to fix the animal imprint or to go away from the animal imprint is not there. But indirectly, because of the educational system, when we study a lot of things, slowly we are getting diverted from that. Okay. And unfortunately, some population of the mankind, they don't get that too, right? You look at various, terrorists or whatever may be, right? They don't go through this kind of, sometimes they don't go through this educational system, and their minds are actually reactive, right? The animal imprints are more in them, and they cause havoc, right? Yeah, as you said, right? It's been there, right? The wars and miseries has been there. If you look at history, is nothing but all that, right? It's all about, you see a lot of disturbances that happened, but we can see that slowly the because of the educational system, the mankind is able to understand, right, or expand the mind, right? And Maharishi is telling that, in the next maybe 150 or 200 years, you'll see a great change, right? So for nature, for us, it looks 150, 200 years like it's a momentous task, right? But for nature, it's very less time, right? So everybody is going knowingly or unknowingly, right? We are expanding our consciousness, right, to the absolute. But sometimes we are stuck, right? So the so-called desire, right? You see, desire is nothing but it wants to expand. It wants to keep expanding, and connect with the divinity, right? And because we are not able to, provide that connection, it is stuck somewhere, right? It could be a material or it could be with some person. Once it's stuck there, it wants to keep expanding at that level, right? So then it becomes a materialistic consciousness, right? If you link your consciousness at the soul level, right, then soul consciousness, right, understand about the energy, it starts understanding about how this universe is working, right? All those are soul consciousness, right? Again, it can go further, the super consciousness state, where it can connect with the supreme, right? Absolute, right? So it's up to us how we want to connect, right? The more it connects to the absolute, you'll see that the love and compassion will be, coming as a divine qualities, because everybody is the representative of the divine, right? You, me, everyone, whatever, right? It could be a plant, tree, star, everything is a representation of that Almighty, right? So once we have the connection, right, we will never dare to cause pains and misery to anyone, right? So let's see some more example. I think we talked about that, right? And take an oath that every day practice meditation and not to hurt anyone, okay, physically or mentally, okay, during our lifetime. Okay, this is an act of love, and also wherever possible, try to help others. Right? It could be your life partner, it could be kids, guidance should be there. Try to guide and help others wherever possible, to the extent possible. Right? It's an act of compassion. Right? It's an easy thing, but you're not able to do it every day. Right? So let me open up for any questions you have.
Hope we can conclude, sir.
Yeah, I think there are no questions. We can conclude.
Okay. So thank you very much, sir. So you are just explaining very clearly about this topic, love and compassions. Thank you very much, sir, one more time. So
It's a deep ocean. It's hard to cover in 40 minutes, but thank you so much for touching the key points. Yeah, appreciate it.
thank you. Welcome. Be blessed by the Lord. So let's come to Thurium Stakes to bless Professor Rajendran, sir. Professor Rajendran, sir, be blessed by the divine. Professor Rajendran's health, well-being, and professions be blessed by the divine. And Professor Rajendran's beloved family, blessed by the divine. And Professor Rajendran's spiritual services to the sky, be blessed by the divine. And Professor Rajendran's whole well-being be